When we talk about building muscle quickly, most people immediately think about supplements, complex training programs, or exotic diets. But the truth is that there is a single food, one that's widely available, affordable, and backed by hard science that can dramatically accelerate muscle growth. This food is not just about protein, it's about the specific amino acids, the nutrient density, and the way it signals your body to grow and repair muscle tissue. To understand why this works so well, let's step into the biology. Muscle growth is triggered by a process called muscle protein synthesis, the creation of new muscle fibers in response to resistance training. For that process to happen efficiently, your body needs the building blocks of protein amino acids. Among these amino acids, one stands out as the most potent trigger for muscle growth: leucine. Muscle growth is not simply a matter of lifting weights and expecting your body to adapt. At the cellular level, the process is driven by something called muscle protein synthesis, which is the creation of new proteins within muscle fibers to replace or expand existing structures. Every time you engage in resistance training, whether it's lifting heavy weights, doing bodyweight exercises, or performing explosive athletic movements, you create microscopic damage in your muscle tissue. These small tears are not harmful. In fact, they are the necessary trigger for your body to begin the repair and rebuilding process. But the act of training itself is only half of the equation. Without the raw materials and proper signals to initiate protein synthesis, the body will not repair optimally, and the result can even be net muscle loss over time. One of the most important factors in this equation is the availability of amino acids, the building blocks of protein. Out of the 20 amino acids used in human biology, 9 are essential, meaning the body cannot produce them on its own and must get them from food. Within these 9 essential amino acids, one stands out as the key player in initiating the actual growth process: leucine. Leucine is a branched chain amino acids BCAA, and its role is not just structural, meaning it doesn't just serve as a piece of the muscle protein puzzle. It also serves as a signal to start the building process in the first place. Think of it like the ignition key in a car. You can have a perfectly functional engine, the muscle, and a full tank of gas, other nutrients. But without turning the key, nothing happens. When leucine enters the bloodstream at sufficient concentration, it activates a biochemical cascade involving the mechanistic target of rapamycin, or mTOR, which is a master regulator of cell growth and repair. The activation of mTOR is essentially the green light for muscle cells to begin synthesizing new proteins, which is what leads to hypertrophy, an increase in muscle size. The importance of this pathway is backed by multiple studies showing that without enough leucine, even in the presence of other amino acids and resistance training, the rate of muscle protein synthesis remains suboptimal. Now, the body's sensitivity to leucine is influenced by a variety of factors, including age, training status, and overall nutrition. Younger individuals tend to have higher sensitivity, meaning a smaller amount of leucine can trigger maximal protein synthesis. In older adults, something called anabolic resistance can occur, where the muscle becomes less responsive to growth signals, requiring higher doses of leucine to achieve the same effect. This is one reason why protein quality and timing become even more important as we age. Furthermore, the rate of muscle protein breakdown after exercise increases significantly, creating a heightened demand for amino acids in the recovery period. If the breakdown rate exceeds the synthesis rate, the result is muscle loss rather than growth, which is the exact opposite of what most people want from their training. Ensuring that leucine levels are high enough post-exercise helps tilt this balance toward net muscle gain. The threshold for leucine to effectively activate mTOR is around 2 to 3 grams in a single meal, though this can vary slightly between individuals. To put that into perspective, not all protein sources are equal in their leucine content. Plant proteins, while valuable for overall nutrition, tend to have lower leucine density compared to animal proteins, meaning you would have to consume larger volumes to hit the same threshold. Foods like whey protein, certain meats, and especially whole eggs deliver a highly bioavailable form of leucine that the body can rapidly absorb and utilize. Rapid absorption is important because the sooner leucine levels spike in the bloodstream after training, the sooner the recovery and rebuilding processes begin. This is why many athletes and trainers recommend consuming high leucine foods or supplements shortly after exercise rather than waiting several hours. Leucine's role extends beyond just triggering growth in response to training. It also plays a part in maintaining muscle during periods of caloric deficit, such as when dieting for fat loss. In such conditions, the body is more likely to break down muscle tissue for energy if adequate amino acids are not supplied. By consistently providing enough leucine, you help preserve muscle mass even when in a calorie deficit, which not only supports strength, but also maintains a higher metabolic rate. This preservation effect is critical because losing muscle during a diet can lead to slower progress and a harder time keeping weight off in the long run. Additionally, leucine interacts with other nutrients and hormones in ways that further support muscle health. It has been shown to influence insulin release, which aids in nutrient delivery to muscle cells, and it works synergistically with other branched chain amino acids like isoleucine and valine, although leucine remains the primary growth trigger. Understanding this single amino acid's importance changes the way you might think about post-workout nutrition. Instead of focusing solely on total protein numbers or calorie counts, you start looking at the leucine content of your meals as a critical factor for optimizing results. This shift in perspective is not just theoretical. It is something that professional athletes, bodybuilders, and performance coaches have implemented for decades, long before the mechanisms were fully understood. Now that the science has caught up, it's clear why this approach works so effectively. The timing, dosage, and quality of leucine intake can mean the difference between slow, incremental progress and rapid, noticeable muscle growth in response to training. By prioritizing foods that deliver this amino acid in abundance and in the right ratios, you are essentially giving your muscles the exact biochemical signal they need to start growing as soon as possible after the stimulus of exercise has been applied. Leucine activates the mTOR pathway, which is the central control switch for muscle growth in the body. The mTOR pathway, short for mechanistic target of rapamycin, is a highly conserved signaling mechanism found in nearly all cells of the human body. It is responsible for regulating cell growth, protein synthesis, and nutrient sensing. In the context of muscle tissue, mTOR serves as the master regulator for hypertrophy, meaning it controls whether muscle fibers start building new proteins or remain in a maintenance state. When mTOR is inactive, muscle cells remain in a kind of standby mode, performing normal cellular maintenance, but not actively growing. When activated, it initiates a cascade of biochemical processes that increase the rate of protein synthesis, allowing muscle fibers to repair and expand in response to the mechanical stress of exercise. Leucine's role in this process is unique among amino acids. While many amino acids contribute to protein synthesis as building blocks, leucine also serves as a signal molecule that directly influences mTOR activity. It binds to specific sensors within the muscle cell, which then transmit a signal to mTOR, telling it that the conditions are favorable for growth. This signaling effect is why leucine is considered the primary trigger for anabolic activity. Without enough leucine present in the bloodstream, even if other amino acids are available, the muscle's growth machinery does not fully engage. It is similar to having all the construction materials for a building project, but not turning on the machines needed to put them together. The activation of mTOR by leucine is also dependent on energy status and other nutrient signals. mTOR integrates multiple inputs before deciding whether to initiate protein synthesis. These inputs include amino acid availability, energy availability in the form of ATP, and hormonal signals like insulin. Leucine provides one of the strongest positive signals, but for maximum effect, it often works in conjunction with a rise in insulin levels after a meal, which enhances nutrient uptake into the muscle cell. This is one reason why combining a high leucine protein source with some carbohydrates after training can yield better muscle building results than protein alone. The insulin from the carbohydrates helps shuttle both leucine and other amino acids into the muscle faster, creating an environment where mTOR can operate at its peak efficiency. The mTOR pathway has two distinct complexes, mTORC1 and mTORC2, but it is mTORC1 that plays the direct role in stimulating muscle protein synthesis. Leucine primarily influences mTORC1 activity, and once this complex is switched on, it begins to recruit ribosomes, the cellular machinery that assembles proteins, to start building new muscle tissue. This process doesn't just affect the muscle fibers themselves, it also impacts the supporting structures like connective tissue and enzymes needed for muscle function. By repeatedly triggering this pathway after each training session through leucine intake, you create a cycle of breakdown and rebuilding that steadily increases muscle mass over time. One interesting aspect of mTOR activation is that it is highly sensitive to timing. After a workout, muscle tissue is in a state known as the anabolic window, where it is more receptive to nutrient signals for repair and growth. In this period, providing a dose of leucine sufficient to activate mTOR ensures that protein synthesis begins as quickly as possible. Research indicates that around 2 to 3 grams of leucine per meal is the threshold needed to maximally stimulate mTOR in most people, Though older adults may require closer to 3 to 4 grams due to reduced sensitivity, a phenomenon known as anabolic resistance. Failing to reach this threshold means that MTOR activation will be partial, leading to slower recovery and less muscle growth over time. It is also worth noting that while MTOR activation is critical for muscle growth, the pathway is involved in many other processes in the body, including metabolism, immune function, and even aging. Chronic overactivation of MTOR in non-muscle tissues has been linked to certain health risks, which is why balance is important. In the context of muscle building, however, short, controlled bursts of MTOR activation after training are beneficial and promote positive adaptations. This is why dietary strategies that emphasize targeted leucine intake around workouts can be so effective, because they activate MTOR at the exact time it is needed most, without overstimulating it in other contexts. Different protein sources vary greatly in their ability to stimulate MTOR due to differences in leucine content and digestibility. Fast digesting proteins like whey lead to a rapid spike in blood leucine levels, which strongly activates MTOR soon after consumption. Whole food sources such as eggs or lean meats also provide high-quality leucine, but digest at a slightly slower rate, which can help sustain MTOR activation over a longer period. This sustained activation can be particularly useful for keeping protein synthesis elevated during the crucial hours after training. Choosing the right source of leucine-rich protein is therefore not just about total protein quantity, but about matching the timing and absorption rate to the body's needs for recovery and growth. The interplay between leucine and the MTOR pathway is one of the clearest examples of how specific nutrients can directly influence genetic and cellular machinery. It is not a vague or indirect effect. It is a well-mapped biochemical chain of events that begins with consuming a leucine-rich food and ends with the actual assembly of new muscle proteins. By understanding this link, it becomes clear why certain foods and timing strategies have such a disproportionate effect on muscle growth compared to others, even when the total protein intake is the same. Whole eggs are one of the richest natural sources of leucine, and what makes them remarkable is not just their leucine content, but the fact that they offer the complete amino acid profile required for optimal muscle protein synthesis. In the world of nutrition science, not all proteins are created equal. Proteins are made up of amino acids, and for muscle repair and growth, the body requires all 9 essential amino acids in the right ratios. If even one of these essential amino acids is missing or insufficient active, the process of building new muscle proteins slows down or halts entirely. Whole eggs provide all of these amino acids in near perfect proportions, which is why they are considered a gold standard protein source alongside whey. Each large egg contains about 6 to 7 grams of high-quality protein, and importantly, a significant portion of that is leucine, the key amino acid for activating muscle growth through the mTOR pathway. The leucine in eggs is highly bioavailable, meaning the body can digest and absorb it efficiently, leading to a rapid rise in blood leucine levels after eating. This quick spike in leucine concentration is critical for sending the growth signal to muscle tissue post-exercise. Unlike some plant-based proteins, which may require larger volumes to reach the leucine threshold, just a few whole eggs can provide the necessary dose in a compact, calorie-efficient form. But the value of eggs for muscle building extends far beyond leucine. The combination of amino acids in eggs supports not just muscle growth, but also connective tissue repair, enzyme production, and even the formation of neurotransmitters, which are crucial for muscle activation during training. The amino acid methionine, for example, plays a role in methylation reactions important for recovery, while leucine supports collagen formation in tendons and ligaments. This means that eggs help reinforce the structural and functional components of the muscular system as a whole, not just the muscle fibers themselves. Whole eggs also contain nutrients that indirectly support muscle growth by optimizing the internal environment for repair and adaptation. The yolk, often unfairly avoided by those fearing dietary cholesterol, is packed with vitamins like B12, which is essential for red blood cell production and oxygen delivery to working muscles, and choline, which is critical for acetylcholine production, a neurotransmitter involved in muscle contractions. The fats in the yolk aid in hormone production, particularly testosterone and other anabolic hormones that influence muscle repair rates. These fats also help with the absorption of fat-soluble vitamins like vitamin D, which has its own role in muscle function and strength maintenance. Removing the yolk eliminates many of these supportive nutrients, which is why consuming the whole egg rather than just the whites is so important for maximizing muscle building potential. Another key advantage of whole eggs is the balance they strike between rapid digestibility and sustained amino acid release. While egg protein is absorbed relatively quickly, the combination of protein and fat in whole eggs slows digestion just enough to maintain elevated amino acid levels in the bloodstream for a longer period after eating. This means that not only is the initial leucine spike achieved quickly for mTOR activation, but the body continues to receive amino acids for an extended period to support ongoing protein synthesis during the crucial recovery hours. This sustained delivery can help reduce muscle breakdown while simultaneously promoting muscle growth. Research comparing whole eggs to egg whites has demonstrated that whole eggs stimulate muscle protein synthesis more effectively, even when the protein content is matched gram for gram. This indicates that it's not just about the protein in isolation, but about the synergy between the protein, fats, vitamins, and other bioactive compounds in the yolk that enhance the body's anabolic response. Scientists suspect that certain phospholipids and micronutrients in the yolk interact with anabolic signaling pathways, making the muscle building signal stronger and more sustained. From a practical perspective, whole eggs are versatile and accessible, making them easy to incorporate into a muscle building diet. They can be eaten boiled, scrambled, poached, or incorporated into more complex meals without losing much of their nutritional value. For individuals aiming to optimize post-workout nutrition, pairing whole eggs with a small amount of carbohydrate, such as fruit or oats, can enhance the delivery of amino acids to muscles by stimulating insulin release. This further accelerates recovery and ensures that the leucine and other amino acids in the eggs are shuttled into muscle tissue efficiently. Beyond their direct nutritional benefits, eggs offer a calorie to protein ratio that works well for both muscle gain and maintenance. For those in a caloric surplus, eggs can contribute both protein and healthy fats to help meet energy needs, while for those aiming to build lean muscle without significant fat gain, they provide high-quality protein with a controlled amount of calories. This flexibility makes them suitable for a wide range of training goals and dietary strategies. The role of whole eggs in muscle building is backed not only by decades of anecdotal evidence from athletes and bodybuilders, but also by controlled scientific studies examining their effect on muscle protein synthesis and recovery. By providing high-quality, bioavailable protein, an optimal leucine dose, and a rich spectrum of supportive nutrients, whole eggs stand out as one of the most efficient and effective muscle building foods available in nature. The synergy between the yolk and the white in an egg is one of the most overlooked aspects of its muscle building potential. Most people recognize the egg white as a source of pure protein and the yolk as a source of fat and micronutrients, but fewer understand how these two components work together to create a more powerful anabolic effect than either could achieve alone. The egg white provides a dense, clean supply of complete protein rich in essential amino acids, including leucine, isoleucine, and valine, which are directly involved in stimulating muscle protein synthesis. Because egg white protein is quickly digested and absorbed, it rapidly raises blood amino acid levels, triggering the initial muscle building signal after training. The yolk, on the other hand, is far more than a storage place for fat. It contains a complex mixture of vitamins, minerals, phospholipids, and bioactive compounds that play critical roles in the body's anabolic machinery. Among these are fat-soluble vitamins like A, D, E, and K, which support cellular repair, immune function, and bone strength, factors that indirectly enhance performance and recovery. The yolk is also a concentrated source of B vitamins, particularly B12 and folate, which aid in energy metabolism and red blood cell production, ensuring that working muscles receive adequate oxygen and nutrients. Choline in the yolk supports acetylcholine synthesis, which is essential for efficient nerve-muscle communication during exercise. One of the most important contributions of the yolk to muscle building is its role in hormone production. The fats and cholesterol in the yolk are precursors to anabolic hormones such as testosterone, which directly influence the rate of muscle repair and growth. Without adequate dietary cholesterol, the body may struggle to maintain optimal hormone levels for recovery, especially in athletes or individuals with high training volumes. This is why removing the yolk in the pursuit of a cleaner protein source can sometimes lead to suboptimal muscle gains, as it strips away compounds necessary for the hormonal environment that supports growth. Research comparing the consumption of whole eggs versus egg whites alone has shown a clear advantage for whole eggs when it comes to stimulating muscle protein synthesis. In one study, subjects consumed the same total amount of protein from either whole eggs or egg whites after resistance training. The whole egg group experienced a greater anabolic response, suggesting that components in the yolk interact with the amino acids from the white to amplify the growth signal. Scientists believe this may be due to certain micronutrients and phospholipids in the yolk enhancing the efficiency of the MTR pathway activation, making the leucine signal from the egg white protein more potent. The fat in the yolk also plays a role in nutrient absorption. Many vitamins and bioactive compounds in the yolk are fat-soluble, meaning they require dietary fat for proper absorption. By consuming the protein from the white together with the fats from the yolk, the body is able to absorb and utilize these nutrients more effectively. This ensures that the muscle building process is supported not just by amino acids, but by a complete network of vitamins, minerals, and fatty acids working in concert. The sustained release of nutrients is another benefit of eating the yolk and white together. While egg white protein alone is digested relatively quickly, the fat in the yolk slows gastric emptying, leading to a more gradual release of amino acids into the bloodstream. This extended amino acid availability helps keep muscle protein synthesis elevated for longer after a meal, reducing the likelihood of muscle breakdown and supporting continuous repair during the recovery period. This is especially valuable in the hours following training when the body is actively repairing damaged muscle fibers. The synergy also extends to energy balance. The fats in the yolk provide a compact source of calories that can support a mild caloric surplus, which is often necessary for maximizing muscle growth. At the same time, these fats help stabilize blood sugar levels when combined with protein, reducing post-meal energy crashes and allowing for more consistent training intensity across sessions. In athletes or active individuals, the stability in energy and nutrient supply can make a meaningful difference in recovery and performance. From a biochemical perspective, the interaction between yolk nutrients and egg white protein mirrors the way whole foods often outperform isolated components in the body. While supplements and isolated protein powders can be effective, they often lack the nutrient complexity of whole foods like eggs, which deliver multiple growth supporting elements in a naturally balanced package. By consuming both parts of the egg, you create an internal environment where amino acids, micronutrients, and hormonal signals are all aligned toward the same goal, building and repairing muscle tissue as efficiently as possible. The practical takeaway from this synergy is that individuals seeking to build muscle should prioritize whole eggs over egg whites alone, particularly in the critical post-workout window. By taking advantage of the complete nutrient profile that nature designed, you are not only supplying the raw materials for muscle growth, but also enhancing the body's ability to use those materials effectively. This natural combination of fast-acting protein from the white and nutrient-dense yolk creates a powerful, sustained anabolic signal that supports both immediate recovery and long-term muscle development. Consuming 3 to 5 whole eggs after a workout is one of the most efficient ways to take advantage of the body's heightened sensitivity to nutrients during the recovery period. After resistance training, the muscle fibers that have been stressed and damaged are primed to absorb amino acids and other nutrients to begin the repair process. This window of heightened sensitivity, often referred to as the post-exercise anabolic window, is when the signals for muscle protein synthesis are at their strongest. Providing a sufficient quantity of leucine-rich protein during this time can maximize the activation of the mTOR pathway and ensure that the rebuilding process begins promptly. Whole eggs are particularly well suited for this because they offer the right balance of fast digesting protein, anabolic supporting fats, and micronutrients in a compact, easily digestible form. The amount of leucine needed to trigger maximal protein synthesis is typically around 2 to 3 grams for most people, though older adults or those with anabolic resistance may require slightly more. 3 to 5 large eggs comfortably provide this leucine threshold while also delivering the other essential amino acids in ratios that fully support new muscle protein construction. The protein in the egg white is absorbed quickly enough to create a rapid spike in blood leucine levels, while the fat in the yolk slows digestion just enough to sustain amino acid delivery over several hours. This dual phase delivery is advantageous because it ensures that muscle protein synthesis is initiated quickly and remains elevated throughout the early stages of recovery. Eating whole eggs after a workout also supports glycogen replenishment when paired with a small amount of carbohydrate. While eggs themselves are low in carbs, consuming them alongside foods like fruit, oatmeal, or whole grain bread can help restore muscle glycogen stores, which are depleted during intense training. The insulin response generated by the carbohydrate also aids in the transport of amino acids from the eggs into the muscle cells, further improving the efficiency of the recovery process. This combination of protein and carbohydrate is widely recognized as one of the most effective nutritional strategies for post-exercise recovery. The benefits of consuming 3 to 5 eggs post-workout extend beyond muscle protein synthesis. The cholesterol in the yolks plays a direct role in maintaining healthy levels of anabolic hormones like testosterone, which are critical for muscle repair and growth. Several studies have found that dietary cholesterol intake is positively associated with gains in lean muscle mass when combined with resistance training. While the body can produce its own cholesterol, providing it through diet can help support the demands of intense training and recovery without negatively impacting cardiovascular health for the vast majority of people. The micronutrients in whole eggs further contribute to post-exercise recovery. Vitamin B12 supports red blood cell production and oxygen delivery to the muscles, which is essential for both immediate recovery and long-term performance improvements. Choline aids in nerve function by supporting acetylcholine synthesis, which helps muscles contract efficiently during future training sessions. Vitamin D in the yolk has been linked to muscle strength and coordination, while selenium acts as an antioxidant to reduce exercise-induced oxidative stress. These nutrients work together to create an internal environment that favors recovery, adaptation, and continued performance gains. Another factor that makes 3 to 5 whole eggs such a practical choice for post-workout nutrition is their digestibility and convenience. Eggs are easy to prepare, portable if boiled in advance, and do not require complicated cooking methods to maintain their nutritional value. This makes them a reliable option for athletes, bodybuilders, or anyone with a busy schedule who wants to capitalize on the anabolic lick window without relying solely on protein shakes or supplements. Whole foods often provide better nutrient synergy than isolated protein powders, and eggs are one of the most nutrient-dense whole foods available. From a caloric perspective, this post-workout approach can be tailored to different goals. For individuals in a caloric surplus aiming to build size, pairing eggs with additional nutrient-dense foods can easily increase total energy intake. For those in a lean muscle maintenance phase, the calorie content of 3 to 5 eggs are manageable while still providing all the benefits of a high leucine, complete protein source. This flexibility makes eggs an ideal post-training protein for a wide range of dietary strategies. The simplicity of this habit also helps with consistency, which is often the deciding factor in muscle building success. By making it a routine to consume 3 to 5 whole eggs after each resistance training session, you establish a reliable and effective method of delivering the necessary nutrients to your muscles at the exact time they are most receptive. Over weeks and months of training, this consistent nutrient timing can lead to measurable improvements in muscle mass, strength, and recovery capacity. The science behind this recommendation aligns with both research findings and decades of anecdotal evidence from athletes and coaches. Studies comparing post-workout protein sources have repeatedly shown that high leucine, complete protein foods produce greater increases in muscle protein synthesis than lower quality protein sources. Eggs, particularly whole eggs, fit this requirement perfectly, and the addition of the yolk enhances the anabolic response beyond what egg whites alone can achieve. By consuming them in the right quantity after training, you not only meet the leucine threshold, but also provide your body with the full array of nutrients it needs to repair, adapt, and grow stronger over time. Dietary cholesterol from eggs has long been misunderstood, largely due to decades of public health messaging that associated cholesterol intake with heart disease risk. However, modern research has clarified that for the vast majority of people, dietary cholesterol has little to no impact on blood cholesterol levels. And in fact, it plays critical roles in various physiological processes, particularly in muscle repair and growth. Cholesterol is a structural component of every cell membrane in the body, providing stability and fluidity to the lipid bilayer. This structural role is especially important in muscle cells, which must undergo constant repair and remodeling in response to training stress. Without sufficient cholesterol, cell membranes would be less stable, potentially impairing the efficiency of recovery after resistance training. Beyond its structural function, cholesterol is a precursor to several anabolic hormones, including testosterone, estrogen, and cortisol. Testosterone in particular has a direct influence on the rate of muscle protein synthesis, meaning that its availability is a significant factor in how quickly muscle fibers repair and grow stronger after exercise. By providing the raw material for testosterone synthesis, dietary cholesterol can indirectly support a hormonal environment that favors muscle hypertrophy. This is why extremely low fat or cholesterol restricted diets can sometimes lead to decreased testosterone levels, which in turn can slow recovery and limit muscle growth potential. The fats in egg yolks, which include cholesterol, are naturally packaged with other nutrients that support hormone production, making them a highly efficient source for this purpose. Cholesterol also plays a role in cell signaling, which is essential for coordinating the repair process in muscle tissue. Certain signaling molecules derived from cholesterol, such as steroid hormones and vitamin D metabolites, help regulate gene expression related to protein synthesis, inflammation control, and mitochondrial function. Mitochondria are the energy powerhouses of cells, and their ability to function optimally after intense exercise can influence how quickly muscle tissue returns to full strength. By supporting these processes at the cellular level, dietary cholesterol from eggs contributes to faster recovery and improved training adaptations. In addition, the cholesterol in eggs is part of lipoprotein particles in the bloodstream, which are also involved in transporting fat, soluble vitamins, and other lipids necessary for cellular repair. Vitamin D, for instance, is synthesized in the body from cholesterol and has been linked to muscle strength, coordination, and overall athletic performance. Without adequate cholesterol, the conversion of vitamin D to its active form can be less efficient, potentially impacting these performance-related outcomes. This interconnected relationship between cholesterol and vitamin D metabolism highlights how nutrients in the diet often work together in complex ways to influence muscle health. Some studies have even suggested that higher dietary cholesterol intake during resistance training programs is associated with greater gains in lean body mass and strength. In one notable experiment, individuals who consumed more dietary cholesterol in conjunction with strength training experienced larger increases in muscle mass compared to those with lower cholesterol intake, even when their total protein consumption was similar. This suggests that cholesterol's role in muscle adaptation extends beyond just being a building block for hormones and cell membranes. It may also influence anabolic signaling pathways directly, enhancing the body's ability to respond to training stimuli. Eggs are an ideal source of dietary cholesterol for supporting muscle growth because they also provide high-quality protein, essential amino acids, and a wide range of vitamins and minerals that complement cholesterol's functions. Consuming cholesterol from such a nutrient-dense food source ensures that the body is not only getting the raw material for anabolic processes, but also the cofactors needed to use it effectively. This is a key distinction from consuming cholesterol in less nutrient-rich foods where the overall health impact might not be as favorable. It's important to note that the body regulates its cholesterol production based on dietary intake. When more cholesterol is consumed through food, the liver typically produces less, and when less is consumed, the liver produces more to maintain balance. This is why, for most people, increasing dietary cholesterol does not result in harmful increases in blood cholesterol levels. In fact, in the context of a physically active lifestyle with regular resistance training, the body's use of cholesterol for repair, hormone production, and cell signaling is heightened, meaning the dietary intake is put to good use rather than simply accumulating in the bloodstream. The anti-inflammatory benefits of certain compounds found in egg yolks, such as phospholipids and carotenoids, further enhance cholesterol's positive role in muscle health. These compounds help reduce exercise-induced inflammation, which can otherwise slow recovery and impair performance. By combining the anti-inflammatory effects with cholesterol's structural and hormonal functions, whole eggs create an optimal nutritional package for athletes and anyone looking to maximize the results of their training. The misconception that dietary cholesterol should be avoided at all costs has prevented many people from taking advantage of one of nature's most efficient muscle-building foods. When included as part of a balanced diet, the cholesterol in eggs does not harm cardiovascular health for the vast majority of individuals and instead supports multiple pathways essential for muscle repair, hormonal balance, and long-term training progress.